So, we'd like to welcome everyone to Kunyos and Gane's 6th vlog.
Wow, 6th episode.
We're like almost at the halfway mark.
Yeah.
I know, it's awesome. This is
David Gane.
And Angie Kunyos. We should introduce each other next time.
Okay, sounds good.
What
We are the writing team Kunyos Gane. I'm just trying to keep this show running.
Well, we have 20 minutes.
And it's
We
always
always
at
over.
the end, it's like, oh yeah, we got to finish this up really quick. So
Yeah. We also like to point out that we're on different sides of the couch today.
it's important to Ange. Actually, it's important to
Today.
me too.
Today it was important
I was
to
getting
you.
tired because my part was on the other side.
Fair
so
enough. I think
felt,
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I accepted it 100%. It was legitimate.
Yeah.
So, who we are and what we do. We're writers in crime.
Yes, writing partners in crime.
I always miss that one word. Writing partners in crime.
You miss a lot of words on this show.
I know.
Anyways, running theme of
Can
Ange.
people like edit it all together? We don't have an editor.
No, yeah.
It's you. I'm
That's why it's
sorry.
just one long take of
Yes.
us. I apologize.
Sorry.
So, anyway.
Back to what we are and what we do. So this is a little show to talk to you about collaboration, writing, what it's like to write together.
Yeah, it's about us, but it's always about the bigger picture of what is like, what it takes to write as well. So.
And to be a writer, what an
And
author
to be a
is.
have a writing partner.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
And life.
Life and our favorite beverages
Food
and snacks.
and we like all that kind of stuff.
And what's going on in our current writing work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that's it for now.
You can do the tappy thing. We have
I have a new job.
New job for her. So today we are drinking.
Yes, we are.
It's Blackbridge Brewery and Nokomis Craft Ales. They did a limited release golden collaboration, Belgian Golden Strong Ale. And I thought, you know what, collaboration, us, everything like that. See if I'm
It actually says extra strong beer at the bottom.
Does it? Oh, so we're gonna give me your glass first. So yeah, I figured this is a good way to roll into this.
Drunk, no.
Drunk, yeah. We've already opened it to give my wife her recommended serving.
Her daily recommended dose of beer.
I'm just waiting for the fizz to. Also, this is the first one that we haven't had that's been a chewing episode for 2 episodes.
Oh, because we've had like the cinnamon buns.
Yeah, and my mouth is always full and everything like that. So, ooh, yum!
Great.
I hope this just goes down all the way through the show really quick. So yeah.
Oh, that's tasty.
It's kind of got like a sweetness to it or something, isn't it?
Yes. And I'm not a huge beer fan, you know that. So
yeah.
This is yummy.
Oh, and it looks kind of golden-y.
Thick.
Yeah, it
Not
does.
thick,
but
but there's like a thickness to it.
Yeah. So anyways, you should try it. This is a non-sponsored, as everything we do has been non-sponsored. No one's actually asked us to drink or eat their food. We just thought we would share these things with our viewing audience.
Maybe you want to go to Nokomis and buy yourself some beverages.
Although you can get this, we got this in Regina.
Oh, at the liquor store here?
Yeah, one of the private stores.
Cool.
So, okay.
So, what are we up to?
This has been a very big week.
Yes, it has indeed.
And I'm gonna, yeah, actually, let's talk about it because I was gonna surprise you, but we're not. We usually talk from the
I'm nervous.
satchel.
Okay.
Answer questions from here, but I actually want to talk about this week for this show, and get into the nitty gritty, like the real nitty gritty.
I might need more beer.
Which is why we should drink this.
Okay.
So
here we go.
So first of all, today we reordered book 1 for the its 3rd printing technically.
Yes, it is technically the 3rd print.
So yeah, so that's been exciting. We needed to get more books, and so
which
we
means
got
people are buying them. Thank you, people.
Freshened up the cover. We had to do a few tweaks on the inside of things that were found. What did we
put on the cover? We put international award-winning.
Award-winning, yeah. So you were like on top of it. I'm like, I don't remember what it was.
I totally remember. We earned that. Thank you to all the people who picked us.
And thank you to Heather Nickel, our wonderful
Thank you every time
publisher,
we do a show.
Editor, everything. So
yes.
So yes, we have a reprinting of book 1, and then we finalized our cover
That was
for
a
book
story.
3, which is why
Yes.
that's the whole thing I want
It's
to talk
a story. Let's talk about that.
about. And so we have a cover. I've only shown it to a few people. My sister got an early viewing of it last night.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I showed my son's class because I've been teaching them about story writing. They're supposed to do a novel study.
As a visiting author.
As a visiting author.
Right.
Shout out to Madame Dryberg's class. I hope I can say that, but
Well,
there we go.
Why can't you while you're drinking beer? Cheers.
There we go.
Miss Dryberg. You're a teacher. You earned this.
So I actually showed it to them, and the reason I showed it is a part of the story that I want to talk about today.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got those two things. We're hopefully going to be able to share it with people really, really, really soon.
The cover, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things are happening. Things are really starting to come together quickly now. So.
And book 3 is the halfway mark of our series, which is also huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we're kind of reaching that point. Not down like bad, but like it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and to yesterday and today after the show, we're going to start working on, or continue working on the outline of book 4.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So yeah, it was, and I kind of felt bad. I think it was yesterday we were working on it, and it was, our publisher, Heather, was contacting us about book 1. We were talking about book 3 while we were working on book 4.
Yes.
Book 2 has
juggle.
It's quiet right at the moment, but
well, that's okay.
But who knows? We'll see what happens.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and we are pre-recording this Tuesday, so it's really early. So if major things have happened before or after this point, we can't predict the future.
Also, as we were saying, it's been such a busy week. It's actually only been 2 days, Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it's been a busy 24 hours.
Yes.
Right? So it's not just, it's the end of the week and we're talking about the 5 or 6 days that have passed. It's been a day and a half.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the big part of the show here. Okay, so like I said, we're not going to do questions from the bag. I want to talk about the cover of book 3. Because it was a challenge. It was a challenge. It was the hardest cover we've worked on.
Yes.
Up to this point.
Yes.
And yeah.
I wonder too, like, do we have more invested? Or was there just not that perfect thing? Because with the thing that happened yesterday, we found the new image.
Let's talk about the cover.
Let's talk about the cover. With the new image.
Okay, let's go back.
How far back are we going?
All the way back.
Okay.
All the way back. So
dark and stormy night.
So early on, we were throwing a lot of pictures around. When I go back into my photo file, I think I was looking at photos. I think I started around September looking to try and find what image would work for it. And I was really hooked on a really an urban feel, kind of like a purpley blue tones on the cover.
Me too.
We talked a lot about rain on windows and faces behind it, because if you have seen our books before, or our covers even, the first one has a face on it, the second one has hands on it.
Right, and we're playing with the idea of having like a different part.
Yeah.
Or some kind of human aspect in every one.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
And although we had been already talking about not being locked into that as well,
right.
we were always kind of like, do we want to stay with this or do we not want to stay with this?
Right.
But we kind of stayed with it originally.
Sure.
So yeah, we were going to do it, but we couldn't find. I think this is where it all falls apart. Is that we couldn't find the right image to begin with.
That we both loved.
Yes. Because I was really obsessed with having like an image of a man in a business suit looking out a window, either from behind looking out upon a city, or having that blurry face behind the rainy window
Right. And can we
from
add
the front.
book 3 takes place in an urban center? Here.
Yeah, because book 1 was all in the city, but it was more around high school and stuff like that.
Right.
And then book 2 was
all in the woods
all
and
in the woods, and that was easy. And then this was coming back to the city and kind of focusing on that.
But a little more gritty city, like the downtown and the high rises.
Yeah, we saw much more like the highs and the lows of the city.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So we wanted to kind of incorporate that feel into the cover. I think the thing, and you're right there, the fact that we didn't get an image that we both went, yeah.
Yes.
Like we were grappling with, yeah, that could work. Oh, that'd be okay. I think there was a lot of that going on with the kind of the two sort of finalist images.
Yes.
Right, that we don't have. We decided not to use those two.
Don't ruin the surprise.
I didn't say what it was. But there's two that were neck and neck.
Yes.
Right? And then the one is that we decided on, Heather did all the work with.
Yes.
You know, changing colors and...
Okay, you're jumping ahead. You're always jumping ahead on this.
But I don't understand where there's
so,
more in between.
Oh, yeah, there's lots more in between.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Because
here we go.
The reason I really want to talk about this is because you and I weren't getting, like, we were frustrated. I was frustrated. Okay, I'm going to say my side. I was frustrated.
It's like couples counseling.
And that's what I love about this, is that it was like, I was really frustrated because you weren't seeing my side, but maybe you weren't frustrated, but you were your texts to me always felt like you were frustrated with me.
Oh, yeah. No.
About, that the choice. It requires more beer, this story. But it felt like there was like, come on, Dave, like, and it was also, there was two sides to your text, and it's always with your text, and it drives me nuts
Maybe
about it.
We just start talking on the phone, just like 1994.
Kate is always like, that's why we've been having meetings all the time in person, is she's like, your sister can't text well with you, get her in the room, and then it's sorts of stuff out. Which is kind of why I like this show, because we either have a meeting before
and
or
we tell the
afterwards.
Whole world our dirty laundry.
No, we do it before or after, and we talk.
Right.
But I think this is good, because it's like everyone always is asking, how do you collaborate? How do you put a story together?
Lots of beer.
But it's not about the beer.
It's
like it's about like it's you and I. Okay, because I can only speak for myself. I would send you a text and say, what about this one? And I'm like, we got to get this sorted out, because there's so much other stuff that has to get done, right?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, do you like this or do you not like this? And you're very much, let me think a bit about it.
I am a ponderer, yes.
Everything like that. And I'm like, come on, let's go. And we were never getting that immediate, like, okay, we both love this thing, this one shot and everything like that. So because we couldn't find the photo, we went with, like you said,
the backup plan.
We had two options for two photos.
Okay.
We had one of bloody footsteps and one of a bloody bathtub. Okay. And I was the bloody bathtub person.
I was the footsteps.
And you were the footsteps.
Yep.
But I didn't like the footsteps because it matched too close to the first cover from book 1.
Which, okay.
Because the colors were close to the same, right?
Right, but we could have changed that.
Yeah, but then as you start changing it, then you start changing the beauty of the bloody footsteps, right? Yeah. Although, you know what? I have one, I'm not changing our cover, Heather. But I was like, oh, wait, we could have done that with the cover. I'm not going to say it right now.
Yeah.
But, and then we tried, I like the bloody bathtub because book 3... is a not darker, but it is. It's a more violent.
It's a much grittier telling. Yes. Much grittier.
So, I had that moment. I'm like, are we crossing over the line of YA and into something else? But it's still the teenage boys dealing with it, and I didn't go too far in my section.
Right, and I think too with the two, like, just to clarify, I wasn't in mad love with either of those images. Like the footprints I liked, but it was like, yeah, Of the two, that one I like better. But
Yes.
I wasn't so...
But you weren't sold on it.
No, I didn't have that moment of, wow, awesome.
Yes.
Right?
So we were going back and forth between the bloody footprint and the bathtub. We ended up going with the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just kept on playing with, because all our spines have a specific color. The book one is like...
Maroon.
I'm going to let you say the names of the colors, because I'm like, I don't know what you call it. What do you call the second one?
I would say that's like a teal.
Okay, I was actually thinking teal.
Good
so
job.
I'm
Well
good.
done.
I'm on that.
Yes.
And then we had started with like a dark blue.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a filter slapped on everything. Right?
Yeah.
And it was muddy. But
yeah.
it was closer to what I had originally thought, which was that purpley dark blue early version.
Yep.
And then we kind of got away from that. We started getting into grays and concretes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when I say we did this, it was all Heather doing this.
Yeah.
So she would
example after example after example.
I feel so sorry for her that she had to put up with us about this. Because it would be like, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And then we went into the dark.
It was like an eye doctor test from hell.
Yeah.
Left or right?
So
left or right?
Was it like a dark gray that we almost settled on?
Yes.
So it was a dark gray. It was a very grim looking bathtub, bloody and violent and everything like that. Something bad had happened in there. And then on the back cover, because it was a dark gray, we couldn't use our usual black figures of the boys that we have been putting on all the books. So then it became, well, first there was a gray and a black.
Mm-hmm. Light gray silhouette with a darker background.
But no, one boy was gray and then one boy was black.
Oh, I don't even remember that one.
And then we did all whites and then all grays. Then we did... then I think we started going into the reds, right?
Yes.
Because we were trying to figure out how to make it pop, make it visual. And you liked, what is it, a dark gray?
The light gray silhouette on the dark background.
Okay.
Yes.
It actually wasn't that light. It was a darker
silhouette.
Gray, yeah.
But it was a lighter. The silhouette stood out, like compared to the background. The silhouette stood out. So it was a lighter gray than the background was.
Yes.
So there was that contrast where the gray silhouetted figure stood out. I mean, it wasn't that light, no, for sure not. But it wasn't. It was lighter than the background, which made it seem brighter. But it was still a somber.
Yes. And then
that was my vote.
That was her vote. And then I liked a dark, kind of brownish red silhouette because it popped. It was visual. Like if you were in my mind, it was, if you were in the bookstore and you saw it, you could see it from far away. Yes. Where the gray kind of blended. And I also, with the more we got the photos and the less color that got out of it, the more I just was like, this is dark and dreary. And we should also say that the reason that you really liked that spine was because it was like, describe the reason you went with that color of the dark gray spine.
What did I say?
Because it was the middle of the series?
Yes. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to just sing praises to one of my students, this really great kid named Caleb, because I had posed some questions to them, put up the different examples. And one boy said, what book is this in the series? And how many are there? And I said, there's 5, and this is the 3rd one. And he's like, so 1, 2, 3, color, neutral, color, maybe? And that was his suggestion. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, like the idea that it was in the middle and that it was, that it would make sense visually to see 5 of these books on a shelf. That was one of the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had nothing against it, but I had nothing exciting for it.
Again, that ooh factor.
Yes. And a part of it was because the reason we went with these spines was because I saw it when you're in the bookstore and they're not front facing, they're side facing.
Yeah.
And you have like boop, boop, boop of all these different colors that are all together and kind of linked in brightness.
Right.
That's what I loved about it.
Right.
So it was kind of like...
Even though we had picked a blue, an urban type of blue initially, because I remember you saying it and me thinking, yeah. But that changed.
Yeah. And then we also... So we didn't have the right photo. That led us to a dark spine, which then led us to these dark silhouettes or silhouettes that were trying to stand out against everything that was dark. And also because our front cover font had to match the spine, that we were struggling with that.
We wanted uniformity throughout.
Yes.
All the book covers.
Yes.
Yes.
And then to be honest, I was frustrated, and we did so many. I would send this out to your cousin. I would send
He's a graphic designer.
A graphic designer, but I'd send it out to all my old students. They would be like, boop, bloop, bloop. And I would send it out to, I would just go through like text messages and be like, who can I bother with this question, right?
And I'd actually showed it last week to all my students.
Yes.
We do a silent sketch in my class at the beginning of class, and I was like, guys, the projector's up now. Take a quick look at this. And on the data projector, I showed, do you want this one or this one? This one, again, eye doctor test. Just to get a sense of who might pick what. And I think I had sent you a message that said, they're both really strong designs.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's just kind of those little details that are maybe going to make a difference to someone for sure, or maybe not. Like to others, it's kind of one of those, because I found in my little Gallup poll that it was a fairly close race.
Yes, and that was the weird thing, is that we never got a tiebreaker on it.
Yeah.
It would always just come back, be like 50-50-ish, right? There'd be maybe one higher, one lower, and it always would suck because sometimes you would get the higher one on your vote, and then I would get the higher one on my vote, and then it would kind of cancel each other out. And I was like, come on. But then we kind of came back down to that the reddish brown boys and the gray boys, right? Because that's all that was different about them. And everyone I was talking to was like going for the reddish brown boys, except one or two would be, and they were all artists, or like artistic or creative, really strong creative backgrounds, or in my mind they would be like that. Like Jimmy, your cousin, was gray. He was the grays, and
I am an
this
artist
other
as well.
this other old student of mine, she picked gray, but everyone else was reds.
Right.
And then I took it to my son's class, which I was teaching yesterday, and I asked the entire class. I put it on the screen. I said, which one do you like? Out of 26 students, 25 of them picked the reddish brown boys, and only one chose the grays. And it was funny because I was just gonna like leave it at that. I got my victory. I was like, yes,
done.
But of course, I also was worried that you were gonna ask your students the final pick, and they would be all like, hey, we all love the gray, and then be
there we are again.
Yeah, we're back at the same place.
Yeah.
And then there was this one girl who didn't like it, or liked the grays but didn't like the red, and I loved it because the entire class except for her had chosen the gray.
Awesome.
And I went back and I'm like, why did you pick that? And she said, well, the other covers had like black figures. Why not have more consistency or uniformity or something like that? She didn't use those words, but it was
in her grade 8 way. That's what she said.
And I was like, okay. And then I didn't even think of it. And then I went home and Kate and I walked the dog, and I was like, yeah, but she said it in a way that all the times that Ange would argue for the gray, she never said it that way.
I'm not a good debater.
And it was so funny because she didn't even, I think of it, but she just said it. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, and I said it out loud. I said, she is the only one who's ever argued the only reason why it makes sense. She argued Ange's point, and I'm like, okay. if we ended up going that way, because I was still set on the red,
Right.
because everyone else had voted for it, right?
And I had said too that wasn't a hill I was going to die on, right? Like, if you want the red, let's do the red. It's okay.
But then it was funny, because this is where you would drive me insane with your text, because it'd be like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Oh, by the way, but this is my ammunition for the other argument. And you did that on the walk. So, we do our long walk.
Oh, like I was texting you while you were walking?
Yeah, so I'm like standing at the Albert Street Bridge, and I look at this and I'm like,
I want to throw her in.
And I swore, and I was like, your sister, and I put it back into my pocket and everything like that. And then I think it was on the second half of the walk, I was like, if we were going to do that, if I was going to listen to Ange and go with the Greys, then if that's the argument she has, and it's similar, which is what you basically sent me a picture that said, you basically sent me the picture, the visual version of what this girl had already argued, right? And I said,
oh, because I'd collaged the 3
you
books.
collaged all 3 books together, right?
Right.
And so then I was like, okay, if that's your argument, by the way, we are way over on our time.
We're sorry. If you get bored, we understand. Go get a beer. Come right back.
We are
because we have a few minutes left.
So I was like, if we're going to do that, then let's go all the way to the dark black silhouettes, right? And if we're going to do that, then we have to get rid of the spine. Right. And that's kind of as far as I had gone. And then we met to do our meeting. But like up to that point, you were frustrating the hell out of me. I got to say that. And this is why I wanted to talk about it, because, we argue and argue and argue about these little things, or you stress me out about little things, about like story or covers or whatever. But in the end, when it all worked, it made sense. So we come home, or we meet together to do our outline, to start working on outline book 4. And I kind of told you my steps up to that point.
Right. And
then I think we said, well, if we're going to do that, then we'd have to get rid of the photo.
Oh, yeah, the bathtub, yeah.
And get rid of the bathtub. And then we just started searching new terms together in the same room.
Yes.
Because everything else up to that had been over Slack, 3 of us in 3 different places, and sending ideas out back and forth.
That's right.
And it was so stupid, because remember, it was like, what was the search term? Purple
City soup?
Well, first of all, actually, no, we didn't pick the photo, we picked the color first.
Yes.
We said, let's go back to the purple blue that we liked.
Yes, and we actually did a color search first.
Yeah, we picked the color, and I sent it to Heather.
Yeah.
And she had the color, and then she did a version of the cover with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't good. And then we started looking for the picture.
The image, yeah. A new image, a completely new image.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was funny, because it was like, we searched through a bunch of weird search terms, and then when we typed it in, I don't even want to say what the search term is, because I don't want people finding it. But we found it, and then it was like, there it was.
And it was the exact reaction. I was like, you like, look. I'm like, oh, yeah.
We both said ooh at the exact same time.
And then we showed it to Kate.
No, we sent it to Heather first.
Oh, and she said ooh.
And she said ooh. And so we knew
like good ooh, not bad.
We were like on the right thing. And then I think I sent like a weird like mishmash version of it, because I would like take a strip of color, slap it on top of the image.
Yeah.
And then like, oh yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes. It's that when we get that reaction and we know right away. And that's part of my personal decision making, is like, I'm either all or nothing. Like, I'm like, I'm 100% in, that's awesome. And I don't argue it, or I don't have 1,000 reasons why. It's like, yes, done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if I'm waffling, it's because I don't 100% love something.
Yes.
Right?
And I think and that's why I say, in retrospect, it all makes sense. Like, we were fighting because neither of us were sold.
Right. Neither of us were sold. We're fighting with each other on the same thing.
Yeah.
Like we were like, but we weren't sold on the thing we had picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting.
And so it was, but I was like, okay, we got to figure this out. So I was just trying to ram this idea through.
But I mean, we just did a relook. I wonder if we would have done this like 3 months ago.
If it would
just if we would have sat in the same room with a list of words.
Maybe.
And
but I think maybe it took that gestation time of
sitting on it,
going through it, and seeing the bad versions and everything like that.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
And it's funny because now when I look at the I
need more beer.
When I look at yesterday's version, like I shouldn't say yesterday's version, the day before's version of what was the last two options, right? With the bathtub and everything like that.
Yeah.
And now I look at it beside the chosen cover.
I know, it's so different.
It's so different, and it so doesn't fit.
And you know what else? Okay, and this also speaks volumes. I got to school this morning, and my first group of kids are in my homeroom, and I sat down and I said, oh my God, you guys, we have a new cover. It is so badass. And I didn't do that once with our previous cover.
And I said that to you. I'm like, can I show Peter's class the new cover?
Right.
Because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and I think that speaks volumes, right? Like we had these other covers and these other ideas, and we're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll take a survey in my class. But my reaction this morning was completely like, you guys, we finally picked a cover, and it's so badass. It's like awesome.
Yeah.
So the reaction for me now, because I really like the cover, is awesome, and it's uniform, and it fits in with the others.
It fits everything.
It hits everything
hits all
we
buttons.
need.
Yeah.
I know. So, but wow, what a journey. And I think we're spoiled because book one cover came so easy.
Yes.
It was like Heather sent us a proof. I sent
You tweaked it?
I tweaked it. You said, that's great. You sent it to Heather. And then there were a few adjustments and we were done. And everybody was happy.
And I don't even think book two took much.
No.
I think it took less time.
Yeah. You were like, how about this? Sounds good. Do you like this color? Yeah, absolutely.
Shrink it down to that focus image. Yeah.
Done. And so I think we're also a bit spoiled because the first two books were like, well, that was easy.
Yes.
And then we get to book three and we're like, ah. And I think we went into book three with kind of a premeditated idea.
Too much of a plan, maybe?
Yeah. And so that when that...
We couldn't find the image that we wanted.
Right.
Which was the rain-speckled face on a
building, glass
blah,
building.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, like that's super specific.
But then this one was just... And even Heather's tweak to our original immediate image and like focusing it on the one on the hands and everything like that. I think that matches our book better than the version that we saw originally.
100%.
But it took us. It was such a journey. It was like a roller coaster.
I wonder if other authors.
I'm sure they do.
Do they?
I'm sure.
They don't just spin a wheel. Purple.
I wish, I would really love for other authors to be watching this and be like, oh yeah, and then if you are an author and you watch our little podcast, vlog, whatever it is, send us like a
note. Let us know
just
what
to
you
say,
did.
How long did it take for you? Because ours was a process.
It was a process.
But it was as soon as we got it was like
we knew.
Yeah, we knew it took. By the time we found that image, between the color of the image and the final proof was only about 3 hours.
Yes.
If that.
Yes.
And I really gotta tell you this story. So.
Oh dear.
Heather, like you and I were sold on the image. I was doing like, make sure everyone's on board on this because I always have to make sure everyone's on board. Heather sends me a totally different image. I'll show it to you after the show. Of
Heather.
Of like something totally different. She's like, just because I forget what she called herself, devil's advocate or shit disturber. I think it was shit disturber. And I was like, come on.
Awesome. Somebody's got to keep us on our toes.
Yeah.
It's her.
And I was like, no. I didn't even send it to you. I'm like, no.
I do want to see it though.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
And cool. It doesn't match. The one what she built was perfect.
Yes, 100%.
I've said this to her on Slack. Over and over again. Thank you. She was fantastic.
And patient.
So patient with us. And I think the fact that she sent that last picture, I'm like, okay, she was enjoying not maybe enjoying, but you know what I mean? Like,
I don't
was
know. It
patient,
could
but
have been an F you guys. Screw you guys. Here's another picture just to mess you up. I doubt it.
That's
She's
funny.
she's not that malicious.
Maybe she is. Maybe she's evil. She's really kind and sweet. Maybe she's.
No, we know those people. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a dark side. Maybe she's our next killer. Who knows? We already have a character who's named Heather in the book, unintentionally. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we had met Heather, her name was already Heather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we are way over time. We got to start wrapping this up. But I really enjoyed this. I really thought this was fantastic. I know this will be the worst viewing that we'll have on this show.
4 people will watch this vlog.
Yes.
Thank you, 4 people.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God.
Please buy a book.
And drink some beer.
And drink some beer while you watch
it. It's delicious.
Maybe this will be the one that I'm going to turn into the podcast.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad you said that. While we were chatting, I was like, this would be a really good podcast.
Okay, so maybe that's what we'll work on.
Cool.
I'll look into it.
Okay. Well, we should probably finish up.
Yeah, so you got to tap the little button.
Wrap up. 5 minutes. We're going to tap up.
Let's reflection. I think we're good on the reflection, right? I don't think we need
building
to do much
a book
reflection.
is a big process.
Yeah, building the cover of a book is a big process.
Yeah.
What's your...
Hey, can I just sing our praises?
Why?
Because I want to. It's the beer. I love you, man.
Okay.
Just
great,
like
man.
it's tough to like come together with another alone, let alone with another person, to try and negotiate something that you care about and have it turn out so awesome that all parties are happy.
Yes.
So
Kate was also the same way. She was like, I didn't love the bathtub and everything like that. Kate's our silent partner, really, is what she's become, right? My wife.
Right.
Yeah.
And my sister, silent partner, she does a lot of quiet little things on the side that are important.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very much. And she was the same way. She was like, yep, that's the right one. And yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And also I did show it to the class, and everyone of Peter's class put up their hands.
Love the new one?
Love the purple.
Yay!
So I don't think anyone didn't put up their hand, but maybe I'm sure there's...
But general consensus was it was awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, awesome. Book of the week.
Book of the week. So I've had this like very feminist, very strong books. I had Wild by Cheryl
I thought you were going to
Strayed,
go with a totally different story.
and I had Infidel.
Can I have some more beer?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I had Infidel by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I had, What Looks Like Crazy, about a woman with HIV. And last episode, because my car died in the freaking cold of Saskatchewan, I grabbed a book that Dave already had, but that I loved, by Austin Kleon, which was Show Your Work.
Two books.
Show Your Work.
Show Your Work.
And Steal Like an Artist.
Steal Like an Artist,
right.
which is the first
so
one.
So they're kind of like, intellectual, strong, a lot of feminist kind of literature. So this week, I thought I would pick something a little lighter. I got some Calvin and Hobbes.
Lift it up, make sure that it's...
I hope it's in the shot.
We always do not put these things in the shot. It's
really
good that I'm putting like the
I love Calvin and Hobbes, and as light, it's important to keep light in your life.
But
and
it's thoughtful.
It's thoughtful, and it is actually quite smart as well. So there's a lot of, like, it's intelligent. So my pick of the week is any Calvin and Hobbes book that you can get a hold of. Great.
I wish I should have brought in a Far Side book or something.
Well, you know what's ironic?
The balance.
Your choice for today, I thought that was hilarious, because I've been wanting to bring this since like the book Infidel.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to just do something opposite and light and fun. And so Dave's pick of the week is...
Okay, so before I lift it up, I thought this is me usually talking. I thought it was interesting, and I was actually really happy because you have been bringing in strong women writers into your books of the week and everything. And so, of course, I picked Ernest Hemingway, which is a good... I like this one. Okay, so first of all,
the complete stories. Oh, yeah.
It's got some issues, but this is the complete short stories of Ernest Hemingway. I love his writing style. Anyone who knows me knows I love his writing style.
I do too.
I really like his tight, short stories. His first collection of short stories is probably some of my favorite short stories of all time. It's just a little collection. He's got the little vignettes of like a few paragraphs as short stories in between the short stories. And it's just so powerful writing. Like I feel it's kind of a cliche to say Ernest Hemingway is my pick of the week for strong writing or whatever.
But he's awesome.
But he is, and I used to read some stories to the kids when they were young because I just loved the rhythm of it. I think I even read them because we had heard that you read when they're in the mother's womb, and I read them, and I forget if it was Anna or Peter would used to kick whenever I read, and I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but
that's awesome. Great choice. Yeah.
And yeah, there's so many great stories, and I always bring it into my class as like I do Hills Like White Elephants, as like this is a story about, you know, a couple. They're talking about something that's writing underneath, and my university students have to like read it because it works. This is the other thing is I used to look at those as forms of script writing and playwriting and stuff like that because it was all about the language and about communication and what was not being said. And it's funny because when I fail that when I'm writing our books, Heather always is like, no, Dave, you got to give us a bit more. So,
too vague.
Give us some more.
Cool. So those are our books of the week: Calvin and Hobbes and Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah. So
good to have contrast.
Nice. Honestly, I think they can somewhat fit in the same world. That makes sense.
I think so. Yeah.
So okay.
So I think we're at the end of this. You know, I wish
we had a. I just saw the time on it.
We had a lot to say. I wish we were at the beginning of this. I could tell you, go get a snack, get comfortable. This is going to be a longer
I'll put it in the write-up.
Yes, because prepare yourselves, or it's a 2-part series. Yeah.
I'm going to have to take a clip, because Zoe's been telling me to take the clips.
Shorter clips. And
I'll find a few short clips.
Zoe's our publicist from BC.
Yes. Okay.
So, where to find us? At www.kuniosandgane.com if you are more curious about the shenanigans of...
If you want to read our books, which are here, but they're hidden away in my book bag, so I don't want to, like, drag them out.
I'll make all that noise, yeah.
Yeah. So, you can buy our books at shop.kuniosandgane.com.
If you like what we're doing, subscribe. Holy trouble with the beer. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all of those.
And also on YouTube, I want to mention this. If you watch us on YouTube, hit the notification button. It's like a little bell, I believe, in that corner? Some corner. It might be one of those corners. Anyways, hit the little bell, and when we put up a new video, which is supposed to be Sundays,
if all goes well.
It'll be on there. So...
Awesome. And if you have questions for us, we typically pull questions out of this magic bag from our viewers. So if you have a question, send it. We'll pull it out of there. Maybe it'll be you. And you can hashtag Ask Kunios and Gane, and we will answer your questions. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. It was close. So, and you can send the questions on Twitter or Facebook as well.
Yes.
And thanks for tuning in to our rant about how to make a cover on a book.
This is like... 2 times the length of the show.
We're sorry.
We've got twice the width of a shot and twice the length of the show.
Wow. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Great week.
Bye.
Bye.